Buenos dias and welcome back to Cafecito with Teacher Catalina. I am super excited to see you and to have this whole world right here in front of us. So the first thing I want to do is ask you, ¿de dónde eres? Where are you from? Leave it in the comments. I'd love to know where you guys are from. In a previous Cafecito episode, I told you that I was going to share some of my trips with you. And today, I want to start by sharing about my native country of Colombia. That's why I have my soccer gear on. Of course, we always root for Colombia when it comes to soccer, games, matches, and in the World Cup. It's been a couple years since I've been to Colombia. I've been to a couple of other places around the world in the meantime, but I have vivid memories of my last trip to Colombia and the 3 cities that I visited, so I want to share those with you, including some of those awesome pictures. One of the things that always stick in my mind when I travel to Colombia is just how happy the people always seem. It's like going to a party. It's like really enjoying life. And of course, I love seeing my family, but you get that vibe from everybody around you. So during my last trip, I went to Bogotá, Cartagena, and Villa de Leyva. That trip was one of the first times that I went back to Colombia after having moved to the United States. And I wanted to share my experience of returning to my native country with my students, which at that time were 8th grade students. I took my trip during spring break, which meant the students were supposed to be off. But believe it or not, many of them were super excited to see my experience and learn from my trip, even while they were on a cruise, while they were just chilling at home. I absolutely loved it. The students were super engaged. They were learning the language, the culture, and we ended up even discussing things that I had not anticipated, like geography of Colombia. Why was I wearing long sleeves and pants in some places? Because they thought it would be hot. What about the exchange of the dollar to the Colombian peso? Really great discussions happened during that project. So, if you were wondering why I was wearing long sleeves, it's because the first place that I went to was Bogotá. And Bogotá is about 8,600 feet above sea level. And with high altitudes, temperatures drop. Mira estas montañas. Look at those mountains. Bogotá is surrounded by them. On that particular day, we rode our mountain bikes, our bicicletas, up to the top of the montaña, the mountain, to reach this beautiful church. I also visited El Museo del Oro, which is the gold museum, and there were beautiful pieces and lots of gold. Home-cooked meals and seeing my family was the highlight of Bogotá. Then we took about a 4-hour drive to a small town called Villa de Leyva, famous for its beautiful architecture, and the streets are covered in beautiful big stones. Look at these beautiful casas, houses. Look at the balconies. Look at all of the flowers. I really enjoyed walking through those streets, smelling bread being baked fresh out of the oven, and talking to the locals. This is what a typical breakfast in Colombia looks like. If you want to learn how to make it, make sure you look at the description below. I made huevos de la casa in a previous episode, and you can too. Villa de Leyva is famous for adventure activities and active activities. So on this trip, I did something called torrentismo, which is basically kind of rappelling down a waterfall. I won't lie to you, tenía miedo. I was a little scared, but I pushed through it and it was one of the coolest experiences ever. The main religion in Colombia is Catholicism, and during this specific week that I happened to go, it was Semana Santa, Holy Week. So it was really cool to see some of the processions that were happening along the streets and on their way to the church. Villa de Leyva is also famous for their plaza, which is basically this beautiful open space in the middle of the town where people congregate, they hang out, and sometimes they have events. One of my favorite events is the Festival of the Kites. And I remember as a little girl going to see all of the kites that people from around the area had created and were flying across the sky. The last place I visited was Cartagena. And Cartagena is by the sea. So I got rid of my long sleeves and went back to my t-shirt and shorts. The architecture in Cartagena was also absolutely astonishing. Look at these pictures. We checked out the Castillo de San Felipe, which is the San Felipe Castle, and the view from the place was beautiful. Check out this Colombian flag and the city. One of my favorite things to eat when I go to Colombia are the fruits. There are so many tropical fruits that I truly enjoy having. And in Cartagena, on the streets, you can find the palenqueras. Look at the picture, and they will sell you some yummy, delicious fruit. You can even have it with condensed milk. Colombia has so much more to offer, so next time I am going to explore different cities and experience the culture in different ways. Por favor, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed our cafecito today and that you enjoyed my trip to Colombia. I look forward to hearing about your trips and sharing more in the future with you. Adios!